we're going to get right down to the nitty gritty. Keisha, what are we talking about today?
So we are talking about this post that went viral on Facebook from a couple.
Instagram.
On Instagram, yes. And the couple says that the young lady and her boyfriend are in a, we'll show it to you here. And so we wanted to know, what did you think about what she said? I mean, she said basically, to sum it up, her boyfriend, basically she deposits her check into her boyfriend's account. He gives her a $100 allowance, and then he pays all of the bills, he manages the money, and he invests their money. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first off, I did a little investigating. I went to click his stuff, and they're engaged. So it's not just a regular boyfriend and girlfriend. He made some form of commitment. So number one. Number two, like you mentioned, she works, I would assume, a full-time job. You know, she gets a whole check and she'll deposit in his account, and he does what he does with the money. According to what they said, is he's just more financially literate and responsible. So therefore, he takes care of what he needs to take care of for that. What I think is that's a great trait to have, some financial literacy, someone who's responsible, a good, partner that's responsible and can take care of the household and financial needs. However, he's just a fiancé. He's not your husband, ma'am. Anything can happen between now and your alleged wedding date. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you are depending solely, practically 100% on this guy and your finances. Now, my question is, she's depositing the money into his account. Is your name anywhere on this account?
That was my biggest thing. Now, here is mine. That was my biggest thing. Is it a joint account or is it his account? Because that's a vastly different thing, right? And I do understand her saying he's the more financially wise person, and so he makes, because in any relationship, let me just say, you need to establish who is more financially wise. And when you're married, especially, so you guys are setting yourself up for your future. I think it's to be discussed amongst each other, and there's always one that handles more of the finances than the other. Right. That I understand. But the first question I had was, is her name on that account? The second part, she mentioned he gives her $100 weekly allowance. Right. And so my other question was, okay, do you not have access to this money? Because she said, if I want more, I can ask and he will give it to me. Right. And so do you not have access to this money? Those are my two major issues with this situation, because maybe they are engaged and they're prepping for marriage and they're now starting to combine their finances and do those things, and that is all fine and dandy to me. But I do not think you should have no access and your name should not be on there. Those are my two issues. Now, what took me over was reading the comments. The comment section always, y'all are going in on these people like, oh, is she stupid? Is she dumb? The only person that needs that much power is Jesus. Like, going in. Some people said, oh, a man can't control my money, or this and that. And here is my thing with that. I think we have to be very careful in that situation as well. Because number one, I know in my relationship, my husband is more financially wise than I am. Not to say that I'm not wise, but more financially wise. So he handles a lot of the finances. It doesn't mean that I don't have access, let's be clear. It doesn't mean that I can't go check something, I can't go do something. I have access to all of that. My name is there, but he handles a lot of it because he's more of the financially wise person, where I may handle other things in our lives because that's my strong suit. Right. So I think we have to be very careful when we start to say like, oh, a man, oh no, he wouldn't have access to my money like that. Oh no, he couldn't be in mine, because that's the issue I have with people nowadays when, for me, when they start to say they're getting married or they're becoming one, they could become one in everything but their finances.
Okay, I was gonna say, okay. I wouldn't call her stupid. I wouldn't call her dumb, because just like with all relationships, we don't know the ins and outs. We only know what people present. So we don't know. Maybe she made a, terrible financial error and he had to really dig her out of it.
That's true.
Their relationship seems like it's pretty solid. If you go look, you see that they're living together. They made a vow of abstinence. Hopefully they are maintaining that. They do plan on actually getting married, getting wed, and building their life. So I still wouldn't necessarily do it, because I wouldn't trust the fact that this thing is actually going to go through until it actually goes through. And I believe that women still need some level of independence, financial independence, because you just don't know when the ship is going to sink. So I think $100. Maybe that's a part of the budget. Maybe that's, she probably doesn't make a lot of money, so that may be 10% or whatever percentage of her check. So we don't know, but my issue is y'all not married yet. That's my big issue.
And so if they were married, then what would you have to say about this situation?
I wouldn't see a problem in it. I wouldn't see a problem in it. I don't think that he's abusive or controlling or manipulative because he gives her.
That's what the internet is
saying. Listen, $100 don't mean that that's her gas money. $100 don't mean that that's her sanitary, if she needs some pads or something. $100 can just mean that's your lunch money. And that's a lot of money to eat
in a week. $100 a week.
Right, a week.
That is a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
And I know the internet was acting like, oh, that's nothing. And I'm like, that's a lot of money.
But that's what I'm saying. We don't know what the $100 is for. It could just be her play stuff. It could be miscellaneous items. But he'll probably say, now your gas is being taken out of something else. This is just for you to play. That may not even be her hair budget. That may not even be, eyebrows or nails budget. It may just be literally for her to play. They didn't state that specifically, but they didn't tell us what it was for, what it wasn't for. So I think we're just making assumptions. Once again, like I said, my issue is they are not married, and you just cannot trust that an engagement is actually going to go through. Now, it seems as if, they're on the right track, which is kudos to them. However, I would wait until you actually make it official before you put 100% trust in an individual like that.
And my issue is her name. If it's not on the accounts, it's not on the accounts, and that she does not have access to the money. So not to say that she would go get it, but at least have access to do it if you need to. Those are my two issues. I do not have an issue if they bank together. I do not have an issue that he handles most of the things. I do not have an issue that he gives her an allowance. That I honestly think is a pretty good amount for a young woman. Like, I was trying to figure out how much money do you need to spend a week?
I don't even spend that as a grown woman in a week for myself. Now, like I said, mine is gas. I got to put gas in my car.
Yes.
But just to have $100 in my hand for myself, I don't spend that in a week. I don't.
She's getting it weekly.
Yeah.
So
that's $400 a month.
Yes. And I think we also have to be careful with listening to the internet's advice on our relationship.
That's right.
And so, again, the things that I see negatively in this, she may not. The things that you see negatively in this, she may not. Again, like you said, we don't know the history. We don't know what happened. But I will say is, sis, you can't be listening to the internet about your relationship like that, because
child, half of the people talking probably not in a relationship, in a terrible, poor relationship, struggling relationship.
They're not even getting $100.
Or they may be, girl, they're not getting $100 a week. Or they may be in a decent relationship, but you still have your hiccups. No relationship is perfect. But when they get married, for me, if it works for them that way, then go ahead. Like I said, my issue is...
he seems wise. He seems like he's investing. He's doing all of these things. So as long as he is bringing her abreast of, this is what we're doing with our money. This is the things that we have.
And you have access.
Right. And you have access, and you're not just oblivious to what's going on with your money. You don't know how to... If something happened to him, you have no access to it. Like, those are my issues with this there. But that, leads us to... We need to do another little talk on finances and relationships, because that is a hot topic for the women on the internet, honey.
Yeah, absolutely.
They crucified her.
Yeah, but no, I don't think, we have to do all of that to her. Like I said, I believe in women independence. There was a time when a woman was completely lost as to what was happening in her life and her finances, and the man, he brung home the bacon and she had to cook it, and she couldn't say anything about where the money going, and he would gamble it all or drink it all or spend it on, the whorehouse and stuff like that. And then a woman would end up, she would end up, with the brunt of the bills and all of that. So that's what I'm saying. As far as being independent and having some financial say so about what's happening in your finances, I think that's very important, especially for a woman. You just never know what can happen. Either he could take the money and run, which is the worst case scenario. Hopefully that's not the case. Or he can, like she said, he can pass away and now you're oblivious. You don't even know what to do, the first thing to do with this money, and you end up losing it all or spending it frivolously. So you have to be aware. And it's cool that he's more financially savvy, but she has to put her in a position where she can glean from him and learn from him. She may not ever be to his level, but you have to have some type of financial sense as well, so that you will be able to manage things as they come. That's my thing.
Yeah. But listen, share your thoughts with us. What do you think? What have you seen work? What have you seen not work? Because again, we are not the know-all, be-all of this thing. Everybody's relationship works differently. So we would love to hear from you, and you to share your thoughts on the video, you to share your thoughts on what we said, and also what did you see work? What did it work? How did it work? Is it his account, her account, our account? Is it our account? Is it my account and he has both of our accounts? Like, just share your thoughts and whatever it is, because we would love to hear from you.
So like, comment, share, and subscribe, and also follow us on Instagram at Let's Talk La Vie. See you soon. Bye.